Lukoto Chipiwa Patricia. Tandikosi. Malope Bongiwe Priti. Ingwenya Angel Kimiko. Sibone Gloria. Nursing in quality. Nyamukula Mayor Gladwin Mauriza. Matu Lekopanolo Ghana. Standards Regional Rank 1. Joy, Nico, Priscilla. Kutumela, Flora, Dakari. Maoto, Victor, Siupera. Matie, Shongile, Navana. Madam Chancellor, the following candidates received the Baccalaureate Technologiae Pharmaceutical Sciences. Margaret Makanani. Madam Chancellor, the following candidates received the Baccalaureate Technologiae Radiography Diagnostic. Conrad Lisa Marie. Bojans Mikhail. Madam Chancellor, the following Madam Chancellor, it's received the Baccalaureate Technologiae Sport and Exercise Technology. Boyens. Afela, Kenneth. Maklakwana, Riyadh. Zlara, Butomi, Kara. Madam Chancellor, Plato Doratu Nakupila. Wagner Dominic Paul. Madam Chancellor, the following candidates received the
is socio-economic factors influencing smallholder farmers' decision to participate in events and was completed under the supervision of Professor Saundi, Dr. Signolo, and Professor Mbengwa. Maluka Betuel Makadikwa. The title of the dissertation is Response of 5 cowpea genotypes to increasing concentrations of nickel in solution culture, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Dapora, Professor Izakwe Muyura. Masia Tapelo Collins. The title of the dissertation is Tenure Security of is table potato tubers under South African conditions, supervision of Professor Sangi and Professor Sivakuma. Ayanda Tobi. The title of the dissertation is Assessing Profitability of Commercial Black Farming Enterprises in Gauteng Province, South Africa. Seated under of Professor Sangi, Dr. Signolo, and Professor Afebiega. Munama Ramakubani Lodia. The title of the dissertation is Quality Loss Assessment and Changes in Phytonutrition Composition of Seed Peppers in the Tshwane Market Supply Chain. Under the supervision and Professor Dabora. This qualification is awarded cum laude. Moteo Nancy Makubani. The title of the dissertation is Effect of Phosphorus and Biofertilizers on the Growth, Drain Yield, and Rhizosphere Mineral Accumulation in chickpeas at Klepglad Drift and Bonaparte, South Africa, and was completed under the supervision of Dr. Masego and Prof. Sangi. The title of the dissertation is Fixation, Water Use Efficiency, and Phosphorus Nutrition of Inoculated and Uninoculated Field-Grown Prometheus Soybean Genotypes at 2 sites in South Africa, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Dapora and Dr. Maseko. This qualification is awarded cum laude. The title of the dissertation is Evaluation of Greenhouse Cucumber Cultivars at Different Planting Densities. And the dissertation is effect phosphorus supply on growth, nitrogen contribution, efficiency, and grain yield in groundnut at 2 sites in Mozambique, and was completed under the supervision of Dr. Masebo and Professor Dabor. Shandu Cecilia Mabong. The title of the commercial black farm of Africa, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Saundi and Dr. Signol. Madam Chancellor, the following candidates received a Magister Technologiae Biomedical Technology. Sebekulu Nokukhana. And was completed under the supervision of Professor Mutawu. This qualification is awarded cum laude. Mpashele Mapale Sharon. The title of the dissertation is Induction of Apoptosis in Breast Cancer Cell Lines by Plant Species Used in Traditional Remedies, under the supervision of Professor and Ms. Chow. Domena Okorotile Celestine. The title of the dissertation is Nanocomposite-Based Electrochemical for Rapid Detection of Vibrio cholerae toxin in Samples, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Shai. This qualification is awarded cum laude. Pasana Kunzile Yvonne. The title of the dissertation is The Effect of Epigenin in Tissue Engineering of Articular Cartilage, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Mutawu. Madam Chancellor, the following candidates received the Magister Technologiae Clinical Technology. The title of the dissertation is The Effects of Body Position on the Distribution of Obstructive Mixed and Central Sleep Apnea, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Patel and Mr. Hazelworth. Madam Chancellor, the following candidates received the Magister Technologiae and the dissertation is Assessment of Community Knowledge, Attitude and Practices on Filtration Membrane Technology for Production of Potable Water in Chanda Village, Limpopo Province, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Mukola, Prof. Mukobu, and Professor Van. Ramudipa Mateu Tumisang. The title of the dissertation is Evaluation of an Integrated Healthcare Waste Management Plan for Major Generators in Public Healthcare Facilities, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Engelbrecht and Professor Mukobu. Sitole Mfawemposi Innocent. The title of the dissertation is Influence of Human and Environmental Factors in the Transmission of Teniasolium in Villages of Alfred Nzo, district of the Eastern Cape Province of South Africa, and was completed under the supervision of Dr. Becker and Professor Mugaratiwa. And this qualification was awarded cum laude. Is Madam Chancellor, the following candidate received the Magister Technologiae Food Technology. Kongolo Ilunga Jewel. The title of the dissertation is Characteristics of Gluten-Free Bread, and was completed under the supervision of Dr. Da Silva and Dr. Duplessis and Dr. Wogadala. And the qualification is awarded cum laude. Madam Chancellor, the following candidate received Magister Technologiae Mathematical Technology. Olaiwola Ferrami Elizabeth. This is a structure. Aya Sarisha. The title of the dissertation is Prom and Dr. Situsa. Pretoria's Martins Delport. The title is Ecological Preferences of the African Grass Owl, Tytocapensis, on the high field, and was completed of Professor Malan. This qualification is awarded cum laude. Madam Chancellor, the following candidate received the Magister Technologiae Nursing. Emiya Chibuza. The title of the dissertation is Professional Nurses Awareness Practice and Barriers Regarding Sexual Conversations with Cancer Patients, and was completed under the supervision of Dr. Diswal, Mrs. De Villiers, and Professor Mokotani. Mahakwe Lerato Rose. The title of the dissertation is Health Risk Factors Associated with Obesity Amongst Adults Involved in the Taxi Industry in Mabopane, and was completed under the Madam Chancellor, the following candidate received the Magister Technology. Veronica. The title of the dissertation is Screening Selected Medicinal Plants for Potential Anxiolytic Activity using an in vivo zebrafish model, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Soyun, Professor Enslin, and Professor Kalika. This qualification is awarded cum laude. Nswala Ngunza Audrey. The title of the dissertation is Phytochemical Variation of Leoneras towards a quality control protocol. Raw material graphic and vibrational spectroscopy techniques, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Yoon, Prof. Combrin, and Dr. Schmidt. This qualification is awarded cum laude. Secretary Lucas Sinyeke Tepo. The title of the dissertation is Investigating the Glucose Modulation Activity of Herbal African Traditional Preparations Used Daniel. The title of the dissertation is Phytochemical Analysis, Quality Control, and Antimicrobial Activity of two species of impeto, and was completed under the supervision of and Professor Combri. Tunzi Vanessa. The title of it is Ascorbic Acid Content, Antioxidant Activity, and In Vitro Pharmacokinetic Effects of Plant Extracts, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Taderai and Professor Ensley. Madam Chancellor, the following candidate received the Magister Technologiae, Veterinary Technology.
Oh, my God.
Madam Chancellor, the following candidate received the Master of Nursing, Hadebe Lokanya Faith. The title of the dissertation is Exploring the Resilience of Young Adults Living with Mental Illness in the City of Tshwane, and was completed under the supervision of Professor Ramukini. The supervisor, Professor Mutaun, to read the motivation in support of the conferment of the degree.
In this thesis entitled The Chondrogenic Effects of Equus ordinaris on Poison Adipose Derived Mesenchymal Stem Cell This study investigated the potential of economics autonomous agriculture to induce the differentiation of fossil adipose mesenchymal stem cells into chondrocytes. Articular cartilage defects are common, causing significant pain and mobility. Thus far, tissue engineering technique using mesenchymal stem cell have offered a promising modality for cartilage repair and regeneration. Fossil adipose mesenchymal stem cells were prepared and treated with different concentration of economics autonomous. The cells were then examined microscopically and studied with surface stain and terrain to observe the growth and morphology. And macromass culture was also performed by growing adipose derived mesenchymal stem cells in aggregate to evaluate chondrogenic activity. Real-time polymerase chain reaction was used to assess mRNA expression of cartilage markers. The result shows that unaffected viability and proliferation of adipose-derived mesenchymal stem cells were unaffected. Interestingly, the porcine adipose-derived mesenchymal stem cells were observed to have attachment capacity that observed before cell evolution. These results also revealed that economics autonomous aqueous cells were able to induce chondrogenic adipose-derived mesenchymal stem cells. As a result of the novelty of this research, 2 articles have been published in scientific journal, and the results has also been presented in 2 national and international journals.
Madam Chancellor, I request that you confer the degree Doctor Technologiae Biomedical Technology on Makwese Johannes Maepa.
I confer the degree of Doctor Technologiae Biomedical Technology on Makwese Johannes Maepa. Congratulations.
The motivation and support of the conferment of the degree.
In the thesis entitled The Effect of Plant-Based Methodologic Factor on Adipose-Derived Mesenchymal Stem Cell or Tissue Engineering of Articular Cartilage, she investigated the effect of plant-based morphogenetic protein on porcine adipose or tissue engineering of cartilage. Joint and articular cartilage defects are significant problem for athletes around the world, as cartilage covers the ends around, as cartilage covers the ends of bone and provides smooth lubrication surface for articulation between the joint surface to facilitate the transmission of loads with low functional coefficient movement. The study focused on the use of Peptocast angelosis backend roots, Pretoria Campus backend roots, and these isolated compounds such as butylene, fredolin, resonance, and integralin as inducer for porcine adipose chondrogenic fermentation. The extract and the compounds were screened for the most effective concentration for the cellular proliferation of porcine adipose derived mesenchymal stem cells using ATTSC. The result shows that the peak upregulate SOX9 and collagen 2. Localization of collagen 2 was highly revealing with P. capensis and P. angelosis root extract. P. angelosis and P. capensis extract with its compound induced chondrogenic differentiation of porcine adipose derived mesenchymal stem cells. The results provide new knowledge adipose derived mesenchymal stem cell for tissue in particular cartilage. These results shall be presented at the 2 international conferences and 4 national conferences, and 2 papers have been accepted in the registry.
Madam Chancellor, I request now that you confer the degree of Doctor Technology, Biomedical Technology on Mapula Razimani.
I confer the degree Doctor Technology on Mapule Razimani.
Madam Chancellor, the following candidate, thank you. Chancellor, the following candidate received the Doctor Technological Sidebo Getachew Temesi. I now request the supervisor, Professor Gibet, to read the motivation in support of the conferment of the degree.
In his thesis entitled The Dynamics of Tuning Disk Vibratory Gyroscope, Getachew models a three-dimensional, that we'll call it 3D, disk vibratory gyroscope. Equations of motion that model the gyroscope capable of sensing 3D rotation rates are derived and approximate boundary conditions are found. For both the in-plane and out-of-plane vibrations, the equations are solved numerically using computer programs that provide good approximate eigenvalues. The mismatch between the in-plane and out-of-plane frequencies was tuned to produce simplified formula for calculating to a good approximation the rotation rates around the three orthogonal axes of the gyroscope. These unique formulas constitute the most significant contribution to the field of vibratory gyroscopes. Developing such a 3D vibratory gyroscope will result in energy saving and reduction costs, and it will eliminate crosstalk errors that result from the contemporary array of three single-axis gyroscopes. And importantly, as a result of the novelty of this research, 2 articles have appeared in peer-reviewed journals and a peer-reviewed conference proceedings, with the 3rd article ready for submission. The results are being presented at 2 national conferences, and in Greece, I think it was in Greece, he was awarded the best oral presentation at an international conference.
Madam Chancellor, I request now that you confer the degree of Doctor Technology, Mathematical Technology on Getachew Temesi Sidebo.
I confer the degree Doctor Mathematical Technology on Getachew Temesi Sidebo.
Madam Chancellor, the following candidate received the Doctor Technology Nature Conservation. Ogilvy Cheryl Lynn. I now request the supervisor.
For the concerned course degree. In her thesis entitled The Effectiveness of Environmental Education Programs in At-Risk Socio-Economic Environments, the case study of Njuma Ogilvy Investing and Environmental Education Program was effective in changing cognitive knowledge of learners regarding the natural environment, and also if the program leads to pro-environmental behavior change in the community adjacent to a protected area. This study showed that the socio-economic challenges that the community faces have a direct impact on the Ndumu Game Reserve and the surrounding environment. The most significant contribution of the research was that there were significant positive changes in the learner's knowledge regarding the physical environment, and that the program was effective in creating and improving awareness of essential issues in the Dumu. It also showed that learners who were taught environmental principles from an early age have a positive influence on pro-environmental behavior of the community, as they practice environmentally sound principles, setting examples for peers and adults alike. This research also proposed a program to be incorporated into school curriculums to establish a culture of environmental awareness and pro-environmental behavior to ensure sustainable use of all resources and species in and around protected environments. The results of this research have been presented at 6 national and 2 international conferences, and 2 papers have been submitted for publication in peer-reviewed journals.
Madam Chancellor, I request now that you confer the degree of Doctor Technology, Nature Conservation on Cheryl Lynn Ogilvie.
I confer the degree of Doctor Technology, Nature Conservation to Cheryl Lynn Ogilvie.
Madam Chancellor, this concludes the presentation of the candidates. I sincerely thank you.
The candidate whom I wish to introduce is Ponono Francina Baloy for the degree of Doctor Technology honoris causa. Ponono Francina Baloy, a celebrated public health activist and former Minister of Health and Welfare in the Congolese government's illustrious career in nursing and public health spans almost 50 years. He was a delegate at Odessa, and after 1994 democratic elections, she was elected as a member of the South African Parliament. Ms. Baloy was among 490 members of the National Assembly, where she served for 10 years. During this time, she played a pivotal role in introducing legislation and changing policies to reduce the prevalence of tuberculosis as well as preventable childhood diseases, and to bring quality public health facilities into rural areas. Her career started in 1965 at the Rock Ferreira Hospital in Bombela after completing her general nursing and midwifery training. A love for people and a passion for improving public health drove her to enroll for training as a public health nurse in 1971. Owing to her training experience, commitment to the profession, she was offered the position of managing and supervising clinics as a community health nurse at the Temba Hospital in White River in 1974. This was an extremely important appointment since all the clinics in the then Eastern Transvaal head office under the provincial authority in Polokwane. It was the beginning of a long and hard journey to bring communities in the area. The glaring inequalities in the provisioning and rendering of health services in the area were a result of the then apartheid government. At that time, the Temba Hospital was the only one servicing the entire Nzikazi region, as well as the Bongani Hospital, a small TB hospital run by Catholic nuns and the doctor. The clinics were far from the hospital and up to 60 kilometers apart from each other. Patients had to walk long distance to access services, and transport was either very scarce or non-existent. Tuberculosis and preventable childhood diseases such as measles and whooping cough were common, with many babies dying from these preventable diseases. In addition, scabies and malaria were rife at schools, with a distinct smell of blood and sepsis from pit toilets often hitting one when entering those classrooms. There were many villages under the control of chiefs and 2 municipal clinics. A family member or a village woman did home deliveries. While very few women would deliver at a clinic, communities relied on traditional as well as cultural beliefs and customs played a role in the decision to use the clinic or first consult with the ancestors or to use a traditional healer. This practice had often disastrous results. Ms. Baloy's comprehensive and appropriate public health training prepared extremely well for working under these rural conditions. Ms. Baloy solicited the support of the chiefs, community leaders, schools, churches, communities, and anybody who would support her on her very important mission. The resistance from some community members because of their cultural belief, customs, and reliance on traditional healers and casual beliefs of illnesses and diseases sometimes even resulted in attempts to assault these public health nurses. However, as time passed, they managed to establish good working relationships with communities and their leaders. In general, this contributed to the development of the communities and resulted in improved health services at the clinics. Infrastructure, staffing, and adequate supply of medicine, doctors' visits, health service delivery improved, and communities were encouraged to start using their services more. With communities using clinic services more frequently and in bigger numbers, staffing at the busiest clinics had to increase. Since the diseases have been eradicated to some extent, the clinics were providing the basic services expected at the level, and Ms. Baloy started to focus on health professionals. At the time, the Kangwane homeland with the Department of Health and its own head office was established, and she was promoted to a first nurse in charge of the clinical services in Kangwane. In 1984, Ms. Baloy became one of 8 South Africans selected from 2,000 applicants to attend a leadership program in the United States of America. During this time, she visited rural and urban areas, met different health administrators and professionals, and had an opportunity to share her South African experience with Americans. On her return, she turned her work with the health professionals, presenting health tasks and personal hygiene and cleanliness, introducing bi-monthly study group meetings for
Thank you, Program Director, the Chancellor, University Council, University at large, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Program Director, it is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to receive and accept the honorary doctorate today. I do so with great humility, gratitude, and joy. I am, however, mindful of all the people who worked and supported me as I journeyed along the hard and difficult road to bring quality, accessible healthcare and healthcare service delivery to the rural poor communities who were confined to the margins of society in Gangwane by the then apartheid government, without whom this award is not as important. I am grateful that I had the privilege to serve at Kodesa as a delegate in the first democratic government in Parliament under the late President Nelson Mandela. I served for 10 years in the Health and Arts and Culture Committees. Serving in the Health Committee gave me the opportunity to take part, amongst other functions, in the repeal and amendment of apartheid laws to bring about the necessary change to effect laws that allow for the equitable and accessible healthcare and healthcare service delivery to all the people of our country. Program Director, this shows that the family you are born in does not determine your success nor your future. Mine was a poor family. My mother, Takulane Namela, Mtubaze, Babina Tree, was a domestic worker. To her, I am greatly indebted, not to her only, but to the many, many domestic worker mothers who have brought up giants in the industries and even in the communities that are never spoken for or even mentioned ever. May I also thank my husband of 52 years, saying thank you for all my children, grandchildren, sons-in-law, and the family for their support and love. Ngiyathokoza boMabhena, ngiyathokoza boBhuku, ngithini boMthebula, boMalanga, Makenza, boMdodonzane. I can today say it is all worth it. If I could do this all over again, I can do it again. Nothing is a calling to the service of mankind. I always say during the day, the only thing that I did was to bury a person. But I think if the call came and I had to, I would have done that. May I conclude by congratulating all of today's graduates and wish you all well as you embark on a new chapter in my life. Education is a successful future. It is the foundation, regardless whatever you pursue hereafter, to expand your knowledge and ritualize. Let this be the beginning of another chapter of exploring you. And to the parents, congratulations. Well done and stay blessed. Program Director, I hope to carry the university's name with honor, pride, and dignity. I thank you.
Chancellor, it's my privilege to introduce to you the candidate for the degree of Doctor Technologia Honoris Causa. The candidate whom I wish to introduce is Xolani Nicholas Funda for the degree of Doctor Technologia Honoris Causa. Xolani Nicholas Funda, Chief Ranger in the National Kruger Park, a former lecturer at the Tshwane University of Technology, has been making his mark in conservation in the region. Hailing from a humble background, he was born in Transkei in 1967 and grew up as a herd boy looking after his father's cattle. The herding introduced him to nature at a very young age, which subsequently led to his current career in conservation. Xolani, the eldest of 6 children from parents who were unschooled. His father, a mine worker, and mother, a domestic worker in the area of Mthatha. Mthatha has risen to the position of Chief Ranger and General Manager Conservation in Kruger National Park. Even though his mother could neither read nor write, she incalculated the value of education in Xolani and all her children by bringing any book she could find home and forcing them to attend school and read. The discipline of rural village community life established a sense of standards and work ethic in the young Xolani. Youngsters were expected to herd livestock, usually had a strong political background. Xolani finished his schooling at Mkwazi Junior Secondary School in 1985. He completed high school at the Upper Corona Senior Secondary High School with a setback of having to repeat grade 10. It was at high school when Xolani was transformed by 2 events: the development of his leadership qualities and his awakening of his political consciousness, the latter forcing him into conflict with the authorities. He then went to complete his National Diploma in Nature Conservation at Fort Cox College, followed by the BTech degree in Nature Conservation at the Port Elizabeth Technikon. Xolani joined the Eastern Cape Department of Nature Conservation and was able to complete his Masters in Environmental Management at the University of the Free State in Mangaung. He moved to the South African National Parks where he rose through the ranks to become warden of the Marakele National Park. In 2005, he joined TUT's Department of Nature Conservation as a lecturer and found himself as acting head of the department for the latter half of 2015. The industry still feels the effect of him mentoring, the mentoring that Xolani was able to offer graduate students in their vocational placements. However, the push continued to call Xolani, and he resigned from TUT at the end of 2015 to take up his current position as Chief Ranger and General Manager Conservation Management at Kruger National Park. In this position, he applied his leadership skills in leading the regional and section rangers to the day-to-day management of Kruger, and in particular, coordinating the battle against rhino poaching. Xolani continues to mentor students and likes nothing more than to give talks to visiting students during excursions. It is common knowledge that Xolani has created a cohesive force in mobilizing the rangers in their struggle against poaching. Mounting successes can be attributed to his ability to lead, which underpinned his strong beliefs in conserving South Africa's biodiversity. He's also actively involved in the expansion of anti-poaching initiatives in surrounding private game reserve and joint operations in Mozambique. Although Xolani remains active in research projects, he has to sacrifice the luxury of writing up his doctorate due to his commitment to his conservation management tasks and commitment. Xolani is an active member of the Game Rangers Association and has been a board member of the South African Wildlife Management Association. The Tshwane University of Technology is indeed honored to be associated with the caliber of Kolane Kunda. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to request you to confer the degree Doctor Technologia honoris causa Kolane Nicholas Kunda.
To award the degree Dr.
Madam Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Dean of Science, members of the congregation, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. In my language, I would say, I will try to translate, but I would like to thank TUT for giving me such an honor. Really, this is higher than the PhD I'm planning to deliver. And to be recognized by the industry, by the university. At my age, I always thought these honors are for politicians, not for normal persons like me. Before I go to the thanks, because I'm really sensitive, you might think I'm very strong and hard. I'm just hard outside, but inside I'm very strong. I really like to talk about my field, that I know a little bit about it. And the title of my talk is to reclaim African wildlife heritage. And you heard when people were talking about Professor van Staden. I know him, he was my boss at one stage. And he was talking about rhino poaching. If you look at rhino poaching, there is no African traditional or tribe that is using that resource. Someone somewhere, in another continent, is using that resource. Hence I'm saying we need to reclaim our natural heritage. This is South African heritage, this is African heritage that we need to claim. Rhino poaching is going down into the national park because of the efforts of South Africans. We work with military, we work with police, we work with intelligence, but there's no one that can replace my rangers on the ground. We work with South Africans, we work with Mozambicans, we work with Zimbabweans, because we're part of the Greater Republic Transfrontier Park. And therefore, we have to integrate all those different forces. The rationale for us to reclaim our African wildlife, I think our strength is in the wildlife in South Africa. We can try other things, medical, platinum, medical, but ladies and gentlemen, our strength is in wildlife. I've been thinking about how do you package wildlife so that politicians and business people can understand. I think we are in a business of sustainable jobs. I don't think we're in the business of sustaining wildlife. We're in the business of sustaining jobs. And we need to expand them. It's said that when you talk to people, laymen on the streets, talk about rhino poaching and elephant poaching in Kruger National Park, it's like you're speaking Greek. We have a baggage as South Africans, we have a baggage as conservationists to raise awareness conservation is still a white man's kingdom. And whenever people see me, my black colleagues or black society, they say, where's the nyama, where's the meat? And we need to change that. We need to claim our heritage as South Africans. We're not going to do that unless you need to change the way you do your syllabus. Luckily, I'm talking to professors and academics. Conservation is all about people, it's not only about wildlife. We're going to need to start thinking, empowering young conservationists to build wildlife or conservation constituencies. We have yet politicians building political constituencies. We need to build wildlife constituencies if we want to succeed in this war of rhino poaching, elephant poaching, and there are many other species that are like pangolin is one of them. We need to mobilize resources for wildlife conservation. There are threats when you look at our wildlife. And most of our threats are not in South Africa, they're not in Africa. They are sitting somewhere. We're going to need to have a way of communicating that message. Therefore, we're going to need to empower young graduates to be able to mobilize resources. I don't think as a globe we don't have resources, but redistribution of resources needs to be looked at. Professor Riley, we are competing with NGOs in terms of wildlife in South Africa. And unfortunately, some of the actors that are involved in that sphere, they are not accountable to anyone. And they don't have a mandate from governments, from society, from South Africans, from Africans. But they can influence decisions. Today, a rhino is a liability to South African government. Today, wildlife is a liability, to African governments. Because global politics are telling us how do we manage our resources. I'm not saying we should pull up of the agreements that we have signed as a country, but we need to explain the context and the challenges that we have faced as Africans, as South Africans. Last but not least, I would like to thank the Department of Nature Conservation, under the leadership of Brian Riley, for really motivating for me to be awarded this degree. I really salute you, Brian. I take my hat off. You are one of the very few people that can understand my potential. Very few people are seeing your head. Very few people, they misunderstood you. And usually they try to think they know me. I think you know me better now, Brian. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank my mentor. She's not here, it's my mother. She's not here. She's sitting down at Mtata. She don't even know where is Bloemfontein, let alone Isa. Never been into those towns, even East London. Never been to East London. And taking her up into Pretoria, that was really going to be a cultural change to her. And we need to introduce these things slowly and slowly. In conservation, we always say we take baby steps. And I know she's happy that I'm getting this honorary degree. It's a person who really influenced me to be where I am. And she's never been into school, but she managed to collect those few rands that she used to get. She was a gardener in Umtata as Professor Consultancy. I'd like to thank my family for their support, more especially my wife and the kids. Sometimes I think the neighbors are asking, where's the father and where's your husband? Because I'm all over. I spent a couple of months in the US, University of Montana. Many years ago, I spent a couple of months at the University of Florida, going to write a book and leaving my family behind. And I'd like to thank you, my wife and the kids, for all the sacrifices. It's not the end. I'm still young. I'm still going to run around, try to build my career. But thank you.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I would now at the conclusion of today's proceedings like to express my thanks and appreciation to few people. A sincere word of thanks to all the administrative and support staff involved in the arrangements of this prestigious function of the #1 University of Technology in Africa. To our students, it's your day. Also the two newly honorary doctorates, our two doctors. You carry the dreams of the South African nation on your shoulders. Thus, the world-class qualification you now hold represents a contract with our beautiful country. This is not because the state has invested a lot of money to provide you with higher education, but because you are morally bound to the spirit of Ubuntu. This uniquely African philosophy demands from true children of our continent to share with their communities what they have gained through education. As sons and daughters of Africa, and in particular South Africa, yours is the challenge to craft the future of our country and the continent. Much has been made of the need for an African Renaissance. However, the rebirth of the continent and the improvement of South Africa is not in the hands of politicians, foreign investors, or world leaders. It is in your own hands. We at TUT will follow your careers with interest. We know that you will do us proud. I now request that all graduates please stand up for the reading of the Tshwane University of Technology's Entrepreneurs Creed. Please stand up.
Being a graduate of the Pretoria University of Technology, I believe that strength of character and the search for opportunities are the products of initiative and innovation. I will therefore always strive to be outstanding rather than mediocre. I've learned to be resourceful and creative. I will, with enthusiasm, grasp and use all the opportunities I encounter. Being a true graduate, I will always consider the challenge to be greater than the risk. My independence and my self-respect are my pride and honor. My knowledge is my strength and my skill is my security. I will not bow down before anyone nor flee from any risk. My education and my abilities will enable me to stand proud and tall, unafraid of the future, and with strength and independence to think for myself and to act on my own, to enjoy the fruits of my initiative and to serve my country with pride. This is what it means to be a graduate of the Tshwane University of Technology.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure we can do a bit better. Yes. Thank you. You may take your seats. To all graduates, the Tshwane University of Technology wishes you everything of the very best for the future. May God bless you in every step of the way in your respective careers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of the ceremony and I need to make one final announcement. The audience is requested to stand for the singing of our national anthem and to remain standing after the congregation has been dissolved until the academic procession and the guest of honors have left the hall.
As our President Cyril Ramaphosa said in the State of the Nation Address 2019, in the 25 years of our democracy, we've made remarkable progress in building a new nation in which all South Africans have equal rights and broadening opportunities. You would agree with me that in the 12 years of its establishment, the Tshwane University of Technology has also made a remarkable contribution to the skills development, knowledge generation, and innovations that our country and Africa need to turn around the economy for the better. To our graduates, go out there confidently to brighten that corner you've been occupying in society. To all of us, join me in applauding the TUT Council, staff, students, and the community at large for the achievements in the 15 years. And let's go out there and share this good news about our institutions, including TUT. We have lots of problems outside, and we don't celebrate our achievements together enough. Let's share this good news from the villages that we come from the townships, from the workplaces and communities that we hail from. TUT is a bright and shining star that should indeed inspire us to join the President's call to South Africa, to Mamina, and also to Africa. Maya Angelou said, I quote, "You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have." Under the powers vested in me, I hereby dissolve this congregation of the Tshwane University of Technology.